Okay, so we're here this evening to talk about marketing. So what do we think about marketing in Cornwall? If I just start and say that one of my most memorable experiences was going to a holiday park locally where it was a beautifully run park, but they relied totally on repeat business. They didn't have a website, they did no social media, none of the usual things that we all make our daily bread by, and I was quite amazed that there are still businesses like that just relying on people coming back year after year. So I'd be really interested to hear what your experiences are.
We do see that. I think we see a broad range really. So some businesses that have a high output of marketing and some none at all or non-existent. I think the ones at the higher end of the scale, that they've perhaps been doing it longer, I'm talking purely from a digital point of view. So they adapted early and have learned what works for them.
What about you?
I think like well-established businesses, there is a worry that the business will change, and as marketing is changing so much, they do need to think about the future. I think Cornwall's an easy place to market if you're prepared to put the work in. Being in this area opens up doors, especially nationally. So I think it's not a hard sell, but it needs the work put in. You know, you need to spend the time wisely and have a good strategy for how you're going to push your business and who to.
Okay, good evening. Tonight, for your starter, we've got a very delicate spider crab linguine. Okay, just finished off with a hint of lobster oil and lemon oil, just to finish it off. Okay, enjoy.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. So in order to match this dish, I went for Gewürztraminer. So Gewürztraminer is a variety which you can find quite often in Alsace. So it's an eccentric or I would say extremely concentrated style of white wine. So it's going to be bone dry, got a tiny touch of sweetness. In terms of flavor, you will find some flowery and an exotic sort of character. And because of that richness, I believe that the balance will be there with the bisque, which is quite sweet and rich itself. So I'm sure going to enjoy it. Who's going to try it, madam?
Yes, please. So we've all got a lot of clients in the county, and I'm sure if my experience is the same as yours, some do marketing extremely well, others less so. Anything to say about that? Georgie, kick us off. What are your good examples
Some good
of marketing?
examples. Well, I think I should talk about Rodders. So Rodders, they turned 125 years not that long ago, and that's a pretty impressive thing. It's a really old company, been around. They're one of the oldest businesses in Cornwall, yet they're really, really contemporary in terms of how they address their marketing. And I think that's a great kind of inspiring business for other businesses in Cornwall to look at. What Rodders do really well is they know their audience. And they're not trying to be something they're not, they totally get it. And it is those loyal advocates which they speak to on a daily basis which come back to them and then spread the word. And they take their messaging for them out of the county. So I think that's something that Rodders do really well. So whether it's through their website and obviously kind of the PR and comms, but also their social.
And perhaps part of that is also listening. Really listening to their audience, because as you say, what you want to do is to be able to understand your audience and what they want, so that you talk to them in the right language. And
understanding their audience and knowing who they are. And I know they spent a long time really getting to know their audience, and you know, and again, not just in Cornwall but out of Cornwall as well. And once you've got that, and once you know who you're talking to, it makes it obviously much easier. And getting the tone of voice right, obviously, as well. So not trying to be everybody's friend. I think that's really important as well. You can't appeal to everybody. You know, not everyone in the country is going to want clotted cream, although I think they probably should actually. but actually they do understand their market, and they absolutely get their messaging bang on for that audience.
Yes, it's when you hear, what are your audiences, or the general public?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right, okay. So where shall we start? I mean, what's your experience?
Well, that's, I think, the question is where can clients go wrong is when they can engage us as an agency to effectively draw them pretty pictures, but if there's no foundations to those, then they're going to miss the target that is their market. So it's not just getting us to do the nice creative stuff, it's again like understanding who your market is. So there's a bit of investment that should be made into finding out who that is and how you should engage with them, and understanding tone of voice, things like that. These are things that you think, well, they're just for the big companies, but as a smaller company, it's something you can do yourself. But if you can't, then you need to get help with that, because otherwise you're like throwing the net right out and hoping to catch something. Well, it's you can waste money that way, and it's if money is an issue, then concentrate on those foundations, getting those right.
Absolutely, you have to prioritise, don't you? You can't do everything. And you can't be everything to everybody. It's just not going to happen. You have to be a bit more focused. Yeah.
Okay, for your second course, we've got a fantastic Aberdeen Angus fillet steak, cooked medium, maybe medium rare for me. Some confit shallots and some garlic, which have been cooked in duck fat for about 4 hours, and some little fondant potatoes. And a bit of healthy spinach.
It smells amazing. Thank you.
So after this lovely starter, I decided to go for classic red wine from Rhône Valley in order to match a classic piece of meat really. So I went for Syrah. So Syrah, very well known under a different name, Shiraz, especially in Australia. So Syrah, this one is from Rhône Valley, where it's originally coming from, and I'm not saying that because I'm French. So the grape variety is going to be Syrah, as I said, developing a lot of peppery, white pepper style of flavor. The tannin is going to be quite massive, but very well integrated within the wine, and you're going to find a mixture of blueberries, raspberries as well. It's quite intense, but very velvety and very well balanced. Would you like to have a taste of it, madam? You're welcome.
So I am going to admit that I've been in this business for a very long time, over 35 years. So when I started in PR, it was literally a typewriter. And you'd type your press release, you'd put it into an envelope, and you'd either post or take it in to the local journalists. Now, a lot has changed. We're communicating on all sorts of different levels. It's email. I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling that email has become the bane of our lives. But I have to say that although things have changed dramatically in the technology and in the ways in which we communicate, the essential business of PR and marketing is exactly the same as it ever was. That's how it feels to me, that, it's still about who is it you're talking to, what is it you want to say to them, and how are you going to say it to them. What's your experience, Georgie?
Yeah, so it was Edward Bernays, who is the founding father of public relations, and this is back in 1900, and he said then, and it's obviously a really long time ago, that PR, public relations, is the art of persuasion and informing the public of information. And actually nothing has changed since then, really. So we need to get our messages across, and we need to inform and persuade and educate and advise. But actually, the only difference really is now we have so many channels to communicate on.
Absolutely.
And it's not actually that long ago that we were writing press releases and sending faxes. So now it's just the fact that we have lots of different ways that we can do it, and it's the art of doing it in the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'd echo that the core principles of marketing are the same, but it has evolved, and the ability of brands to be able to talk direct to their customers through social is a massive thing, and it's I think it's a big shift going on at the moment with fan building, so the super fandom. So the bigger brands right at the sort of ragged edge forefront are really focused on building those super fan groups, and then the cost of remarketing to those fans is less. So that's a big shift. And then if we look at things like mobile search, 60% of search is now on a mobile phone. So that's a big change. So businesses need to think about that and make sure they've got a mobile responsive website, for example. Voice search, that's a big one that's coming out. So with things like virtual assistants, you've got Alexa and the Google Home device. So search queries are actually going longer because it's more voice orientated. So building that into a website now certainly sets a business up for those things that are coming in.
Okay, just to finish you off, we've got a very dark chocolate and beetroot fondant. Chocolate and like a little granola for textures there, and a homemade toffee ice cream. Okay, enjoy.
Thank you very much. Okay guys, I think you'll agree we've had an absolutely amazing meal. So let's finish off with our top tips to anyone watching. Nick, would you like to kick us off?
I think the best tip I can give is start with a plan, with a strategy, and think about how you're going to market something rather than just go out and do it.
I think I would say if you can't work with a consultancy, then look at what you've got, the resource you've got in-house, and if you can only do one thing, do it really, really well and do it with an authentic and genuine tone.
I think my advice would be to have a search strategy in place, and also around data, sort of data collection. Make sure you've at least got some basic analytics in place. Even if you're not going to use it now, down the line when you've built up data, you can start to analyse that from a digital marketing point of view.
Right, and I think my advice would be don't think you can do it all yourself. You actually, if it's your team you're talking to or you're talking to a consultancy or agency, use that feedback. Take the opportunity to brainstorm. I'm a firm believer in the more you get together and talk about it and listen to each other, the more creative you'll be. Well, I think let's take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to the Penventon Hotel for an incredible meal. And actually, I have to say, from my view, I feel I've got some new great friends. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thank you.